a stream of consciousness sharing of a thought today, and that thought is about being lazy-minded. That is something that I find is synonymous with religious people, and it doesn't matter what religion, Eastern, Western, Christian, Islamic, whatever. It's lazy-mindedness. And I realized this morning, because I was responding to someone who didn't pay attention to what I said. They just funneled it through or filtered it through, however you want to put it, their little myopic, narrow-minded picture of the way things are. They just know what they know, and all they know is I disagree with them, so I said one thing, and then they regurgitated back to me something that was 180 degrees out of phase with reality of what I even said. I realized I don't suffer fools or foolishness, and that may be an issue my flesh have to deal with, but I'm very impatient with that. And I realized the reason why my wife and I got free is because we're not lazy-minded. We're not satisfied with just looking up at the pulpit and say, tell me what to believe. Plug me into a Bible study. Tell me what to think. We're not lazy-minded. We're not. And I just wanted, as a side issue, I want to tell my wife that, honey, you are smart. It's not because of college education why a person is smart or wise, maybe more accurately. Wisdom is determined by how they figure things out. You figure things out because you're trying to understand and learn things? Or do you figure things out by looking over there and saying, hey, tell me what to say amen to? And that's just what is a quick thought. Lazy-mindedness. If you're lazy-minded out there, stop it. I don't suffer that much. If you're going to just come up and say a bunch of stupid things because your religion tells you to say that, and you don't even listen, because you can tell that when someone is listening to you or when they're just waiting for their next comment. And they can even do it in text form, unfortunately. It seems like on these social media platforms, a person will they just know, well, he's probably going to respond this way, so I already know what I'm going to say after he responds, so they don't even bother listening to what you say. That's annoying. I'm a human being. I am allowed to be annoyed. I think it's okay. I didn't lose my salvation. Did I, Jesus? Oh no, I better go check. Maybe I should go hit the altar. No, that's what religion taught me to do. Always make sure I'm not losing my salvation by having some fleshly tendencies. My mind is working, and it can affect my flesh sometimes, but that doesn't mean I'm sinning. I know I'm going off on a rant here, but don't be lazy-minded. Determine these things on your own, just you and your God. Don't just label yourself with, I'm a this, I'm a that. That's why all denominationalism is lazy-mindedness. It's being lazy. It's just wanting to get under the protection of that label. And, I know some people are curious in there and they learn certain things, but at least they got the blanket. Well, the things I don't understand, I'll just plug in, and stick your denomination there. Or I'll go check the book on my denomination to see what they say. That's why these websites and places, they have their doctrinal statement or their statement of faith. Because if you're not sure what you believe, well, I'm a this, I'm a that. I need to go and see what I believe. I used to do it. Again, don't think I'm pointing the finger without knowing it's pointing back at me, or the other three, however that goes. I did it. Don't do that. Don't let someone else think for you. Don't be lazy-minded. And everyone in religion, denominationalism, to an extent, even if it's only 10%, you're still being lazy-minded. Get your information from the source. That building, that denomination, that teacher, that so-called wise man is not the source. God is the source. And you're just as special to him as Paul or anyone else. And Paul said he did not learn it of man. He learned it by revelation of Jesus Christ. That's why he also said, beware lest any man spoil you after the rudiments of the world, after traditions of men, and not after Christ. It's all in that tradition of men. So therefore I could be sitting there in a building and hear words like, Well, I know it's just four walls and God isn't only here, but there's always the but. I know I'm forgiven, but you gotta be sorry. Come on. There's always that big but, and it just proves, in case I edit that out, the phone just fell. It just proves the lie of religion. Religion is the but. You can see it in life, even in politics. Politicians will do it. Friends will do it in relationships. I really care about you, but, which is kind of normal, you know. That's what all humans can do. But with God, there is no but. There's just yes and amen. There's just God. So I recommend, I guess if I was to sum this up, don't be in a denomination. Don't be lazy-minded. Be courageous. Be brave. Stand out for your Jesus. Stand out for your God. Stand out with him and put your trust totally in him. If you put your trust totally in him, you keep going to the building, and then they embrace you, that's wonderful. But if you put all your trust in him, I'm sorry, the reality is they're going to ostracize you. They're going to disconnect from you if they don't outright kick you out for being some sort of heretic. Try it. Find out. See what happens. You know, we were completely ignored, and there's a term for that. It's called passive aggressive. We were passively aggressively kicked out of our building, but we thank God for it. You know, the sooner the better. So we get over this cult. The cult is the cult. Jesus is Jesus, and your denomination, to one degree or another, is a cult because, with very few exceptions, they teach, if not at least imply, your salvation is in these four walls, is in this building, is in the works you do, the tithes you give, the time you spend, the obedience you provide to your leader. And it's all garbage. It's all lazy-mindedness. It's all passing off your responsibility to do your due diligence to get to know your God on his terms, not theirs. So do that. I think I've said enough. In Jesus' name, amen.